burned $200 candles and had fifth houses. I kept my eyes glued out the window in hopes of avoiding conversation. After getting stuck at a light, our Uber took a wrong turn, and we ended up arriving at Franco's after everyone else had already been seated. The hostess, tall and ethereal as ever, with widely set eyes and a large gap between her teeth, waved us in. I saw Memphis, and to my relief, an empty seat next to her. I turned to say goodbye to the ends. Then just as I began to walk away, the gallerist, Sylvia Burton, with her Anna Wintour bob cut, sat down in the chair next to Memphis. I froze. "We must be over there," the red-haired N said, firmly pulling my sleeve towards the far corner of the restaurant where the last 3 empty seats gaped. The dinner was seated. I smiled to cover my frustration and followed. Of course, I would spend tonight with these banal peacocks. We approached the table, all politely bobbing our heads. I found my name on a tiny folded rectangle written in some intern's overzealous cursive, and we sat. "So, you're an artist?" the red-haired N asked me over the roar of the adjacent table. I nodded, not wanting to explain myself. "That's lovely." The air settled heavily around our shoulders. The evening would be long. I ripped a piece of bread and chewed. The N's had begun talking to each other at a gallop, using names and places that sounded like code. Whitney's COO is from Delta, while Abe's bringing Mark to Alex. I pulled out my phone and texted Jessica. "Stuck with 2 obscenely rich women. Save me." A few minutes later, the blonde N's phone began releasing a meat grinder of vibrations and beeps. She picked up. After a pause, she released a "fuck." The screen's glow strobing under her chin. "Uh-huh, yeah, got it." She looked up at the red-haired N and made an apologetic grimace. After she hung up, she turned to both of us. "I am so sorry to do this, but there is an emergency. I have to go." The tenor of her voice indicated she was about to slice a tumor from a child's frontal lobe, but from her outfit, I knew that was not true. "No problem, and good luck," the red-haired N replied. The blonde left, her Chanel boots clucking across the tiled floor. "She's in PR," the remaining N said with a wry smile. A void opened up between us. "That's a good book," she said, pointing to the Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, sticking out of my tote bag that was slung off my chair. I had bought the book at the Strand while killing time before the show. It was a gift for Jessica, who loved thrillers, and stretched on the futon in sweatpants, her nose glued to her phone, had proclaimed wanting to read it. I nodded. "I'm sorry, what was your name again?" "I'm Gillian Flynn," she replied with a cutting smirk, nodding to the book. It took me a second. It was a joke. I released a forced chord of laughter. "I'm Naomi, and you are Esther Ray, correct?" I nodded, but didn't remember giving my last name, and I knew she couldn't see my place card from her vantage. An uncomfortable pause settled between us. I picked at the tablecloth. Then a guy wearing a ratty Grateful Dead t-shirt appeared over Naomi's shoulder, and my heart leapt. He was a blessed dinner crasher. He would join us. He would do the talking. He would tell us about guitar pedals and egg carton sound insulation. "Is it free?" he asked, pointing to the chair. We nodded. The guy breathed a heavy thanks, then lifted the chair over his head and walked away. I was stuck. "Are you enjoying it?" Naomi asked, again nodding to Sharp Objects. "It's for my fiancé. She likes trash." "Well, it's hardly trash. Gone Girl is my absolute all-time favorite. I love a frenetic plot. You know, it's embarrassing, but I even love Dan Brown. I'll read anything he writes. Or Stephen King, or David Baldacci, oh God, or Donna Leon, which are all set in Venice. But you have to read Gone Girl." "I prefer true crime," I said flatly. I believed fiction was for idiots. How could you connect if the violence wasn't real? How could you care if the need for justice wasn't truthful? Naomi said nothing, looking odd.